am going to discuss about RSA algorithm. It is an encryption algorithm that is based on public key cryptography. So we are going to discuss the same today. So basically, before discussing about the algorithm, we are supposed to look at the objective and outcome of the today's class. So it could be a cryptography technique that you will learn at the end of the lecture, and outcome will be you will be able to achieve high data integrity that could be achieved in the end. In addition, there could be a data that could be more secure. Now, what is basically RSA? Who developed RSA? There are certain terms that are associated with RSA that we are going to discuss. So, RSA algorithm is a asymmetric cryptographic algorithm. Now, what does that mean? Ki asymmetric, like if it is symmetric, then one key is used for encryption and decryption. If it is asymmetric, then two keys are used for encryption and decryption. Why two keys are used? Because there is one public key and there is one private key that has been used. Public key is used, that is publicly available. It could be accessed by anyone who is having a control over the network. But if I am using private key, then that private key is only known to the intended recipient, so that he could retrieve the information that is being sent, and nobody other in the network could hack the information that is being sent. So that is why it is asymmetric cryptographic algorithm. It actually means that if it works on two different keys, that is public key and private key. As the name describes, that the public key is given to everyone and the private key is kept private. So, example of asymmetric cryptography that could be like a client, for example, browser. It sends its public key to the server and requests for some data, and the server encrypts the data using client's public key and then sends the encrypted data. Then client receives this data and then decrypts it. So this is asymmetric. Nobody else except browser can decrypt the data, even if a third party has a public key of the browser. So the idea is that there could be RSA that is based on the fact that it is difficult to factorize a large integer, because RSA is based on two large prime numbers. So the public key consists of two numbers, where one number is multiplication of two large prime numbers. And private key is also derived from the same two prime numbers. So if somebody can factorize the large number, the private key is compromised. Therefore, encryption strength totally lies on the key size. And if we double or triple the key size, the strength of encryption increases exponentially. And RSA keys can be typically 1024 bits or 1024 bits long. But experts believe that 1024 bits key could be broken in the near future, but till now it seems to be an infeasible task. Now, what is basically RSA? It could be an algorithm that could be used by modern computers. Could be an algorithm that could be used by modern computers. So it is used to encrypt and decrypt the messages, as I told you. It is our symmetric cryptographic algorithm. We are supposed to use two keys here. So that is why it is a symmetric algorithm that we are going to use. Next is, it included the parts of the web browser from Microsoft and Netscape. Netscape who developed the SSL, that is Secure Layer Protocol. So it is the author of the same. And Microsoft, as the name is very common and popular. So it is also part of Lotus Notes, Intuit, Quicken, and many other products that have been there. So what is basically RSA? We are supposed to use one public key, we are supposed to use one private key. So this is the main, I can say, architecture of the RSA. It is divided into two parts. First is public key cryptography and second is private key cryptography. So public key cryptography, also known as asymmetric cryptography, it is a class of cryptographic algorithms, and private key in which messages are encrypted using the public key and can only be decrypted with the private key. So this is the architecture of the RSA. Now see, this is public key encryption basically. If both wants to send any message to the ABs, then it could be with the help of some browser that they must be interacting with each other. Now there is a third party in between, that is keyword. Now there could be a public key that is used by the Bob and that is used by the Alice as well. But public key is available to keywords as well. So private key is only known to Bob and Alice. So this is the communication channel that is being used. Public key hello. So hello is available to each and everyone who is over the network. So in this manner we are supposed to use public key and private key. Private key is only known to these two persons. So these are the persons who developed RSA. So this is the whole process of RSA that is easily defined with the help of the pictorial representation. Next is what is basically the operation. What is the basic operation that is involved in? Have a look at the same. RSA involves the public key and private key. And the public key can be known to everyone as it is used to encrypt the messages. Messages encrypted using public key can only be decrypted with private key. So the public key is used for encryption, that is the key that is known to the public. And the private key is used for decryption, the key that is only known to the intended receiver. So this is the whole procedure of RSA. Now have a look at the same, because our whole algorithm revolves around this concept. Now there is a source and there is a destination view. So what is source here? Source is the originator of the message from where the message is to be sent. And there is a destination, that is the receiver, which will receive the information. So there are some encryption algorithms that we are used after the message is to be sent. So after encrypting algorithms, the message could be converted into the scrambled form, and there could be some key that could be used in order to do the same, that is to use the encryption. So that is why we have applied key on the key. So that is why it is converted into encryption. So we are supposed to use key here. There is a public key that is available and there is a private key that is available. So here it is the reverse procedure, so that we can deduce the message what is being sent. So this is the process of encryption and this is the process of decryption. So what is there inside the encryption and what is there inside the decryption, we are supposed to have a look at more. So if I am talking about encryption, so encryption in RSA means to say we are supposed to choose to prime number. We are supposed to choose to prime number, but that number could be very large, like it is not a number like 1, 3, 5, 7. This could not be a number that is prime. We are supposed to select in this 1024 bit number, so that it could involve multiple, or I can say complex calculation in order to deduce the same. So let's say we are supposed to generate the public key. We are supposed to select two numbers, that is P is equal to 53 and Q is equal to 59. Let's say these are two largest prime numbers. But these are largest to some extent, but actually they are not largest. Now the first part of the public key will be like we are supposed to proceed with the algorithm. In algorithm, the first step could be we are supposed to calculate n. How n could be calculated? N is equal to P into Q. That is the number that we have selected. So there could be a number n, that a new number could be generated. So after multiplying 53 into 59, what could be the new number? That is 3127. That could be there. But we also need a small exponent, that's a e, that is encryption. So there could be a formula, like we are supposed to perform Euler quotient, and there are various theorems that we can use, various formulas that we can use. So e must be an integer, that is the condition that is associated with in choosing a e. And it could not be a factor of n. It could not be a factor of n. We cannot factor n. So there is a certain condition that is again associated with the same, that is 1 is less than e is less than phi of n. That is phi n is discussed below. Like let us now consider it to be equal to 3. So our public key is made of n and e. So we are supposed to generate private key again. We need to calculate phi of n, that is such that phi of n is Euler quotient, which is equal to p minus 1 and q minus 1. So that could be 3016. Now we are supposed to calculate the private key d, that is equal to k into phi of n plus 1 divided by e for some integer k. For example, if k is equal to 2, then the value of the d is 2011. Now we are ready with our public key, that is n is equal to 3127, and A is equal to 3, and private key B is equal to 2011. Now we will encrypt HI. Convert the letter to number. H is equal to 8 because like now I am telling you the concept behind the cryptography in network security. Like there are A to Z characters, so there are 26 total characters. And in cryptography, how we can represent these characters? A will be represented by 0, B will be represented by 1, C will be represented by 3, 2. So in the same manner, Z will be represented by 25. So 0 to 25 counting is there, and we are supposed to use a lot of mathematical concepts, a lot of mathematical formulas behind the same, because we are dealing with security techniques here. And if we are supposed to deal with the security techniques, then what would be the case? We are supposed to consider various mathematical formulas, we are supposed to consider various mathematical calculations. For example, matrix calculation is also involved, large prime numbers. Now what is this? This is based on number theory that we have discussed in the earlier class. Now you are supposed to brush up, like you are supposed to recap, have a recap about all your previous activities that are related to the subject matter. What is prime number, what is integration, what is multiplication, what are various theorems that you might have used in your math standard. So these are all the things that we are going to use in network security and cryptography, because without it we are not possible, it is not possible for us to encrypt or decrypt the messages. So that is why mathematical skills are required in doing the in performing the encryption and decryption. So this could be our like I was telling you about A to Z characters, and A is represented by 0 and Z is represented by 25. So we convert letter to numbers. H is equal to 8 and I is equal to 9. Thus encrypted data C is equal to 89 raised to power E into modulus of n. For encrypted data comes out to be 1394. So now we will decrypt 1394. Decrypted data will be C raised to power D into modulus of n. Thus our encrypted data comes out to be 89. And 8 is equal to H and I is equal to 9. That is HI. So this is very easy thing that we are supposed to use. But we are supposed to use very large complex numbers in RSA. So if you are having any query regarding same, you can ask me any question. I am giving you a time of 1 minute. Now, what is the theory behind RSA algorithm? Just have a look. Key generation, encryption, and decryption. There are 3 steps that are associated with RSA. Now, RSA is a public key cryptographic system. So, what is basically public key cryptographic system? We are supposed to explain the same. So public key cryptography or asymmetric cryptography, it is a cryptographic system that uses pairs of keys, that is public keys that may be known to others, and private key which may never be known by any except the owner. So the generation of such key pairs depends on the cryptographic algorithm. Now what are various cryptographic algorithms? As the name implies, cryptographic or cryptology, it is the practice and study of techniques for secure communication in the presence of third party called adversaries. More generally, cryptography is about constructing and analyzing protocols that prevent third parties or the public from reading the private messages. Now, what is the algorithm? In mathematics and computer science, an algorithm is a finite sequence of well-defined computer implementable instructions that are typically used to solve a class of specific problems or to perform a computation. So algorithms are always unambiguous. Unambiguous means to say they do not lead to any confusion and are used as specification for performing calculations, data processing. So they could be based on mathematical problems. Now, what are mathematical problems? It could include the study of such topics as quantity, structure, algebra, space, geometry, change analysis. It has no general accepted definition. So that there could be a problem termed one-way function. Now, what is one-way function in computer science? A one-way function is a function that is easy to compute on every input but hard to invert given the image of a random input. So here easy and hard are to be understood in the sense of computational complexity theory. So specifically the theory of polynomial time problem. So effective security requires keeping the private key. Private and public key can be openly distributed without compromising the security. So in such a system, any person can encrypt a message using the intended receiver public key. So, but that encrypted message can only be decrypted with the receiver private key. This allows, for instance, a server program to generate a cryptographic key for intended for a suitable symmetric key cryptography. Now, what is basically symmetric key cryptography? That are algorithms for cryptography that use the same cryptographic key for both encryption and decryption. That is the encryption of plain text and decryption of the ciphertext. The key may be identical or there may be a simple transformation to go between the two keys. Then to use a client openly shared public key to encrypt that newly generated symmetric key. So the server can send this encrypted symmetric key over an insecure channel to the client. Only the client can decrypt it using the client's private key, which pairs with the public key are used by the server to encrypt the message. So while with the client and server both having the same symmetric key, they can safely use symmetric key encryption, likely much faster, to communicate over otherwise insecure channels. So this scheme has the advantage of not having to manually pre-share symmetric keys. That is fundamentally a difficult problem. So while gaining the higher data throughput advantage of symmetric key cryptography. So while public key cryptography that could afford robust authentication, that is also possible. Now, what is authentication? It is a protocol or a type of computer communication protocol or a cryptographic protocol that is specifically designed for transfer of authentication data between two entities. So it allows the receiving entity to authenticate the connecting entity as well as authenticate itself to the connecting entity, and that is also possible in this case, that is public key cryptography. So a sender can combine a message with a private key to create a short digital signature on the message. Now, what is that short digital signature? It is a mathematical scheme for verifying the authenticity of a digital message or document. So valid digital signature where the prerequisites are satisfied, given a recipient very strong reason to believe that the message was created by a known sender. So anyone with the sender and the corresponding public key can combine that message with the claimed digital signature. So if the signature matches the message, the origin of the message is verified, that is, it must have been made by the owner of the corresponding private key. But public key algorithms are fundamentally security primitives in modern crypto systems. Now, what is modern crypto systems? That is a system, it's a suite of cryptographic algorithms that are needed to implement a particular security service, mostly commonly for achieving confidentiality. So it could include applications and various protocols which offer assurance of confidentiality that is related to the privacy of the data, authenticity, non-repudiability. That is, what is non-repudiation? It is referred to a situation where a statement author cannot successfully dispute its authorship or validity of an associated contract. So non-repudiation of electronic communication and data storage. So they underpin numerous internet standards such as transport layer security, as we have discussed yesterday. Transport layer security, which is dealing with the which is the successor of secure socket layer, and it is a cryptographic protocol that is designed to provide communication security over a computer network. SIMIME coding, that is a standard for public key encryption and signing of MIME data. PGP, pretty good service, that is pretty good services or privacy. It is an encryption program that provides cryptographic privacy and authentication for data communication. It is used for signing, encrypting and decrypting text, email files, directories, and whole disk partitioning, and to increase the security of email communication. And GPG. Now, GNU Privacy Guard, it is a free software replacement for Semantic PGP cryptographic software suite. So it is a compliant with RFC, that is Rules for Cryptography 4880. Now again version is defined. The IETF, that is International Engineering Forces standard track specification of Open PGP. So modern versions of PGP are interoperable with GNU PG and other Open PGPs. So some public key algorithms provide key distribution. Now what is key distribution? In symmetric key cryptography, both parties must possess a secret key which they must exchange prior to using any encryption. So distribution of secret keys has been problematic until recently because it involved face-to-face meeting, use of a trusted courier, or sending the key through an existing medium. And secrecy, that is Diffie-Hellman key exchange algorithm that we have discussed earlier. It is a method of securely exchanging cryptographic keys over a public channel and was one of the first public key protocol as conceived by Ralph and named after Diffie and Martin Hellman. And some provide digital signatures. Digital signatures, that is a mathematical scheme for verifying the authenticity. So digital signature algorithm could be used, that is DSA. It is a federal information processing standard for digital signature that is based on mathematical concepts of modular exponentiations and discrete logarithm problem. And some provide both, that is for example RSA. So it is a public key cryptography system compared to symmetric encryption, and asymmetric encryption is rather slower than good symmetric encryption, too slow for many purposes. So today crypto systems such as TLS, Secure Shell use both symmetric encryption and asymmetric encryption. So that was public key cryptography system. So it is a public key cryptography system that is widely used to secure the data transmission, and it is also one of the oldest. The RSA comes from the surnames of Ron Rivest, Adi Shamir, and Leonard, who publicly described the algorithm in 1977. So an equivalent system was developed secretly in 1973, British Signal Intelligence Agency by the English mathematician Fox. So the system was declassified in 1997. So in a public key crypto system, the encryption key, that is the encryption key. What is basically encryption key? A key in cryptography is a piece of information that is usually a string of numbers or letters that are stored in a file, which when processed through a cryptographic algorithm can encode or decode cryptographic data. So they can be used for both encryption and decryption in symmetric cryptography, or can only be used for either encryption or decryption with asymmetric cryptography. So based on the method, the key can be of different size and varieties, but in all cases, the strength of the encryption relies on the security of the key that is being maintained. So a key security strength is dependent on its algorithm, the size of the key, the generation of the key, and the process of the key exchange. So what is the scope of the scheme? It is the key that what is used to encrypt the data from plain text to ciphertext. So different methods could be used for the same. So it is public and distinct from decryption key. Now what is basically decryption key? Now decryption key is it is the process of decoding the information. It is process of decoding the information. Which is kept secret or private. So an RSA user creates and publishes a public key based on two large prime numbers. So what are basically prime numbers? It could be a natural number greater than 1, and that is not a product of two smaller natural numbers. So a natural number greater than 1 that is not prime is called composite number. For example, 5 is a prime because the only way of writing it as a product is 1 into 5. So along with any auxiliary value, the primary numbers are kept secret. So messages can be encrypted by anyone via the public key, but can only be decoded by someone who knows the prime numbers. So the security of RSA relies on the practical difficulty of factoring the product of two large numbers. Now, what is factoring? That is the main concept that we are going to use in encryption scheme. So what is factoring here? In mathematics, factoring or factorization is consists of writing a number or another mathematical object as a product of several factors, usually smaller or simpler objects of the same kind. For example, 3 into 5 is a factorization of the integer 15. So x minus 2 and x plus 2 is a factorization of polynomial x square minus 2, x square minus 4. So x minus 2 and x plus 2, that is x square minus 4, minus plus minus. So factorization is not usually considered meaningful with number system processing divisions, such as the real or complex numbers, since any x can be trivially written as xy into 1 by y. So that is why y could be cut and x could be the, and y is not the 0. However, a meaningful factorization for a rational number or a rational function, it could be obtained by writing in its lowest term and separately factoring its numerator and denominator. So factorization is considered in case of the integers. They proved the fundamental theorem of the arithmetic. Now, what is the fundamental theorem of the arithmetic? That is also called the unique factorization theorem or unique prime factorization theorem, that states that every integer greater than 1 either is a prime number itself or can be represented as the prime number. So which asserts that every positive integer may be factored into the product of prime numbers. Although integer factorization is the sort of inverse to multiplication, it is much more difficult algorithmically. So a fact which is exploited in the RSA crypto system is to implement public key cryptography. So what is polynomial factorization? As the name implies, in mathematics and computer algebra, factorization of polynomials or polynomial factorization expresses a polynomial with coefficients in a given field or in the integers as the product of irreducible factors with coefficients in the same domain. So polynomial factorization is one of the fundamental things that has been studied for centuries. So in elementary algebra, factoring a polynomial reduces the problem of finding its roots to find the roots of the factor. So polynomial with coefficients in the integer or in the field process the unique factorization property, that is a version of the fundamental theorem of arithmetic with the prime numbers replaced by irreducible polynomial. So in particular, univariate polynomial with complex coefficients admits a unique up to ordering factorization into linear polynomial. So this is the version of fundamental theorem of the algebra. So we are dealing with product of two large numbers. So factoring problem is there to break the RSA encryption, that is known as RSA problem. So whether it is as difficult as the factoring problem is an open question. So there are no published methods to defeat the system if a large enough key is used. So RSA is relatively slow algorithm. Because of this it is not commonly used to directly encrypt user data. So more often RSA is used to transmit shared key for symmetric key cryptography, which are then used for bulk encryption and decryption. So what is the history behind RSA algorithm? So the idea of an asymmetric public-private key crypto system is attributed to Diffie and Hellman, who published this concept in 1976. So they also introduced digital signature, that the concept that I have discussed recently, and attempted to apply number theory. So their formulation used a shared secret key created from exponentiation of some number. Modulo a prime number. Modulo mean to say there could be 26 characters in the alphabet. So we are supposed to use modulo 26. That is equal to 1, I think. However, they left open the problem of realizing a one-way function that I have already discussed, possibly because the difficulty of factoring was not well suited at the time. Now, what is the basic operation behind RSA algorithm? That is the main thing that we are going to discuss. It involves 4 steps, that is key generation, key distribution, encryption, and decryption. So a basic principle behind RSA is that the observation is that it is practical to find 3 very large positive integers, that is E, D, and N, such that with modular exponentiation. Now, what is modular exponentiation? It is a type of exponentiation performed over a modular. So it could be hold true for all the integers m with a formula that could be used: 0 is less than equal to m is less than equal to, and so m is raised to power e, that could be encrypted key. Again, there could be a whole power to d, which is equal to m into modulus of n, and that knowing e and d or even m, it can be extremely difficult to find the d because the triple bar here denotes modular congruence. So what is basically modular congruence? It is the arithmetic, modular arithmetic is a system of arithmetic for integers where number of wrap round when reaching a certain value called the modulus. The modern approach to modular arithmetic was developed by scientist goes in book Arithmetic. So in addition, for some operation, it is convenient that the order of 2 exponentiations can be changed, and that is the relation that also employs m of d of e, which is equal to m into modulus of n. So RSA involves the public key and a private key. The public key can be known to everyone and it is used for encrypting messages. The intention is that messages encrypted with the public key can only be decrypted in a reasonable amount of time by using the private key. So the public key is represented by the integer n and e, and the private key by the integer d. Although n is also used during the decryption process, so it might be considered to be a part of the private key. So m represents the message previously prepared with a certain technique that is explained. Now there are 5 steps that we are supposed to use, that is dealing with the key generation. Now, why we are supposed to choose RSA? Why RSA? It is developed to address 2 issues: key distribution, digital signature. Key distribution, how to have secure communication in general without having to trust a KDC, key distribution, with your key. Next is digital signature, to verify a message come intact from the claim sender. So these are the 2 key issues that could be addressed with the RSA. So this is the whole procedure behind RSA technique. Sender, receiver is there. We are supposed to use public key encryption. After the public key encryption, there could be a plain text that is to be sent, and after public key encryption, we are using public key. This could be converted into some ciphertext. Ciphertext is converted in by using ciphertext and key. It could be converted into the plain text. So this is the decryption process that is performing here, and this is the encryption process that is performed here. So both are sender and receiver. So next is below, here is public key exchange. Hello Bob and hello Alice. So you know, hello is known to both. Public key is hello. So hello is there, that is to be exchanged. So it is the plain text that is to be encrypted. But how to decrypt the same? Red is the private key. So how it can decrypt this message? This message is not known to the any other person. So it could be decrypted by this party only because it only has the decryption key or private key. So that is why it is possible. This process is possible only here at this end. So next is there are certain characteristics that are associated with RSA. Have a look at the same. If you are having any confusion till now, you can ask me. The public key algorithm rely on 2 keys with the characteristics, that is computationally infeasible to find decryption key knowing only algorithm and encryption key. Computationally easy to encrypt or decrypt messages when the relevant decryption key is known, and either of the two related keys can be used for encryption with the other used for decryption in some schemes. So these are the three characteristics of RSA algorithm. If you are having any doubt, you can ask me any question. Now again, this is the same process that we have discussed in this slide. Not discussed. So this is the whole process. Source A is there, destination B is there, message is to be sent. It could be encrypted by using the public key. Then encryption algorithm is there, but here we are supposed to use the decryption. Decryption is used. After decryption, the message is obtained by the sender. Now one-way function that we have discussed in theory with trapdoor. Now there are three ways: easy, hard, and easy. So x is deriving y with the help of some function f. So that is easy method. Y is deriving x with the help of f inverse. That could be different. Inverse is different. Next easy method is y is deriving x with the help of f inverse but via trapdoor. So use the trapdoor as the private key. So many public key cryptographic systems are based on trapdoor one-way function. So these are all one-way functions that have been used. That is, x is deriving by using f function, y is deriving x by using inverse, and y is deriving x by using inverse, but in addition with the trapdoor. Now idea behind RSA, it works in the group. Z is having star, mean to say after applying number of operations there we will be able to deduce the same. Encryption is easy, decryption is hard. X is deriving x raised to power e, mean to say it is easy to find the encryption key. But with the help of encryption key, how to find the x, that could be different because we are supposed to perform inverse here. So we are supposed to look for a trapdoor here, that is x raised to power e. Again, there could be decryption that could be performed on that, and in that manner we will be able to retrieve the x. So if d is the number such that e of d is equal to, that is congruence is given, 1 modulus of phi of n, then ed is equal to ke, phi of n plus 1 for some k. And this is the whole process that is defined here for encryption and decryption. This formula could be used for both. So have a look at the same. If you are having any doubt, you can ask me any question. Now integers, how we are supposed to choose integers. So this is the study of the integers here. A or B, A divides by B. A is a divisor of the B. Next, we are supposed to deal with the GCD, that is greatest common divisor. We are supposed to choose two numbers, P and Q. Here A and B are given. So we are supposed to choose greatest common divisor of A and B. Now co-prime or relatively prime GCD AB is equal to 1. Lucid theorem computes GCD AB. Extended Lucid theorem computes integers x and y such that AX plus BY is equal to GCD A of B. Next is Euler-Toshan function. That is why we have discussed so many Euler-Toshan functions in RSA algorithm. So what is basically Euler-Toshan function? Euler-Toshan function is denoted by this sign. When we are dealing with arithmetic calculations, we are supposed to use modulo n. So complete set of residues, that is 0 to n minus 1 could be there. Reduced set of residues are those numbers which are relatively prime to n. For example is given for the reference. N is equal to 10. Complete set of residues is 0 to 9. But reduced set of residues could be prime numbers 1, 3, 7 and 9. So number of elements in reduced set of residues is called Euler-Toshan function. So that is why we have dealt with this function, that is Euler-Toshan function. Next is we are supposed to deal with the RSA algorithm, how we can proceed with the RSA algorithm. So the first step is we are supposed to choose two numbers, large prime numbers. Let's say the number is P is 3 and q is 11. Second step is we are supposed to choose n. So n is equal to p into q, that would be 3 into 11, that is equal to 33. Compute Euler-Stoichern function, which is having a formula p minus 1. Here p minus 1 is equal to 2 and q minus 1, which is equal to 10. So 2 into 10 is equal to 20. Now we are supposed to choose E number, E such that there is a formula that would satisfy this condition. So 1 is less than E is less than Euler-Stoichern function, and E and N are co-prime. Let's say E is equal to 7. Now here we are supposed to apply intelligence. So E is equal to 7 here. Now compute a value for D such that D into E into Euler-Stoichern function, which is equal to 1. So this is the whole theorem that is going to be true, or whole equation that is going to be true. So one solution is D is equal to 3, 3 into 7, modulus of 20, which is equal to 1. So public key is E and N, that is equal to 7 and 33. N number is 33, that we are already computed. Private key is D, so let's say it is 3 and N is 33. So the encryption of M is equal to 2 is C, 2 raised to power 7 into modulus of 33, which is equal to 29. And decryption of C, which is equal to 29, is M, which is equal to 29 raised to power 3 into modulus of 33, which is equal to 2. So in this manner, we are supposed to deal with the RSA algorithm. So this is all about RSA algorithm, or I can say operation of RSA algorithm. If you are having any query, you can ask me. Again, I am repeating the same step. How we are supposed to proceed with the RSA algorithm. Let's say we are supposed to choose two numbers, P and Q. P is 3, Q is 11. Next, compute N is equal to P into Q, that is 3 into 11, which is equal to 33. Next, third step is we are supposed to choose Euler-Stoichern function, which is equal to P minus 1 into Q minus 1, which is equal to 2 into 10, which is equal to 20. So choose E such that 1 is less than E is less than equal to Euler-Stoichern function, and E and N are co-prime. So let's say E is equal to 7. So compute a value for D such that D into E into Euler-Stoichern function modulus, which is equal to 1. So one solution is D is equal to 3. So there is a whole interpretation for the same. Have a look at the same. If you are having any queries, you can ask me, so that we will proceed with the public and private key. So public key is E, comma N, that is 7 and 33. Here comes 33. Private key is D and N, 3, this one 3, and this one 33. Now encryption formula is used and decryption formula is used. After performing the encryption formula, that is message, which is equal to 2 is C, which is equal to 2 raised to power 7 into modulus of 33, which is equal to 29. And the decryption of C, which is equal to 29, is modular message is equal to 29. 29 raised to power 3 into modulus of 33, which is equal to 2. So it is very easy to compute the same. Have a look at the same. If you are having any queries, you can ask me. I am giving you a time of 2 minutes. Just have a look at all the slides that have been discussed. It was developed at MIT in 1977. So this is the whole process that is defined here. Basically, it is concerned with 3 steps, that is key generation, encryption, and decryption. So why we are supposed to use RSA? Because to handle 2 issues, key distribution and digital signature. So this is the concept. First is public key encryption and second is private key. So these are certain characteristics that are associated with RSA. This is the process. This is the one-way function and it is defined on the behalf of 3 parts, that is easy, hard, and with the help of trapdoor. So what is the idea behind RSA? That is discussed here. How we are supposed to choose integers? That is the process that is given here. What is Euler-Stoichern function? That is given here. what is basically RSA algorithm, that is defined here. So this is all about RSA algorithm. Book is book by William Stalling, that is available in the college library, that is issued from the library, and have a look at the same. So next is various 10 MCQs are given for your reference, and you are supposed to submit me the answers for 10 algorithms or 10 questions on my email ID. At the end of the class, you are supposed to submit me the same. Have a look at all the questions. Thank you. So this was all about your today's class. If you are having any query, then you can ask me any question. So this was all about your today's class. Thank you. Have a nice day.